So, PTTP is here in Boston still, at the Boston Municipal Buildings. This is all the information that they have here in the what's the word for it? Hallway, entrance, lobby area. They've got information on hate incidents and hate crimes, discrimination. Yeah, a whole board about it. We've got a public path diversion order. Interesting. Yeah, loads of information in that there. Oh, glasses at the same time. Not bad yourself? Good. Pardon?
You're not recording at all, are you?
Yes.
Please not recording here.
Why?
Because there's information that is not allowed to be passed over to public.
Like what?
Where are you going to?
Pardon?
What department are you going to? Can I ask?
To the municipal buildings.
Yeah, but what department?
All of them.
Yeah, but all of them is a large thing. There's different.
Yeah, all of them. All of them that are accessible. That's where I plan on going today.
Okay, so any carpet area.
Any carpet area?
Yeah, apart from this one, obviously.
Right.
Any carpet area up there or in there.
Right.
You cannot record because of GDPR.
Right.
Too much data around. They don't want people recording in their areas.
Okay. So I see what you're saying with GDPR. Obviously, GDPR is a very serious thing. I take GDPR seriously.
Yes.
So with GDPR, even if I walk in there and I haven't got my camera on, and I see this information that you're saying I can't record, if I've seen it, you've already broken GDPR, or that whoever, like say DWP for example. If I've seen it,
this is why we collar people before they get to them certain areas, because you don't always see it, but people are talking about certain information they don't want passed on.
Right. So it's not GDPR then.
So for the council, for instance, well, of course it is. Because for the council, for instance,
well, again, if it's GDPR, it's on the onus of the council or the DWP to keep it private, isn't it? Well, if I hear it or I see it, whether I'm recording it or not, if I've heard it or seen it, the GDPR has already been broken.
But they don't want recording it.
Well, why not? That would be evidence gathering, won't it?
If they're up there, on their when they're drop-in sessions and things like that, and they're talking about.
So move out of the way, this lady. Sorry.
When they're talking about sensitive information,
Sure.
They don't like anything being recorded.
Okay.
So that's why I say carpet areas would rather you not record.
Yeah, you'd rather I not.
In this area here, where we are now, public, no problem.
Sure. Okay, so again, you'd rather I don't is different to I can't, isn't it?
The management would kick up about it, and they would probably come up to you and say the same thing. This is why we try and stop it before it gets.
And I appreciate that you're doing your job and trying to stop it. What I'm doing is an exercise of my rights to freedom of expression, and that includes anywhere that's publicly accessible. So if they have areas that are publicly accessible,
this is public.
Yeah.
Where we are now.
Do you have an SIA license?
I do.
Have you got it on display? It's on the other side there. Brilliant, cool.
This is all public. All this bit here. In there is appointment only.
Appointment only.
Because that's JobCentre.
Not all job centres are appointment only. Ones that are do state appointment only.
Queries are here.
Right, okay.
All queries are in this area.
Right.
So anyone in there will be appointment only.
So they don't have like the computers in there to do job searches and stuff or anything like that?
That's
what these ones are. These are the job search computers, are they?
These are joint public computers.
Okay,
They're not only for the JobCentre, they're for the council as well.
So they do for their multi-purpose ones. That's fine, fair enough. If that is a private office area, then even when I go to like a job centre that's not in a council building, for example, I will look. I will look at the lobby area, whatever posters they have up for the public, but I won't go up to where people are having appointments.
That's fine.
Although, despite the fact that I could, because there's nothing stopping you physically, and but out of respect to people having appointments, it is wrong that the job centre have that information being discussed in such an open setting. If they don't want it being heard by somebody, then but yeah. So
if someone's recording, we try and get them before.
And that's fine. But my advice to you is in future, you came to me straight away saying I can't record in these places. Whereas now we've got to a point where you're saying I'd rather or not, and you're being a lot more understanding because obviously you've understood that I understand what I'm doing and my rights. My concern is if somebody comes in here and wants to record their appointment, they're allowed to do that. They're meant to be offered a private space to then have their appointment, okay? But if somebody comes in here recording and they're not so clued up on where they're allowed to record, and somebody like yourself, security, clearly has says on your T-shirt and everything, and it might come across as intimidating if you just turn around and say, you can't do this. You need to be careful with your words and say that this is the situation, and as we've just discussed, be a lot more reasonable from the get-go and say, look, you can record in this area. If you're going further, let me get a manager if you want to record your appointment, and they'll offer you a private place. Something like that along those lines would go a lot further, because my concern is somebody might get intimidated out of exercising their rights. But so, again, I appreciate what you said, and I won't go into the DWP area in there. I will stick to the publicly accessible areas. It doesn't look like there's anybody up in the Boston Borough Council bit. So,
as it stands in the council,
they're
running as they usually do.
Okay.
I think they're leaving it at the system they've got in a minute, which is they have the main reception area where people go and queries about all sorts.
Sure.
When it comes to their main council tax or anything like that, they're done on drop-in sessions, which is on that left-hand side. That's one of the barriers up there.
Yeah. Makes sense.
So when they're open, you open the barrier, they go over there. So that bit over there, I'd ask you not to go into.
Yeah. Okay, if there's people having appointments, I won't go over to where they're having an appointment, that's fine.
That bit there, as I say, that's just the general reception.
Yeah.
So
that's fine. If that's what I can see, then I'll just go have a quick look around, and that's fine. But yeah, it doesn't look like there's anybody in there anyway. All the barriers and that are closed. So they have the public sector partnership services customer contact charter. So it details what you can expect from them, what they are doing, and how you can help to achieve it in partnership with them. So you've also got this bit, council tax transactions and benefit transactions poster. That's the PSPS charter again.
Yeah, okay then. Yeah.
Then you've got domestic abuse and alcohol misuse.
Yeah.
A few different leaflets and bits of information. Very much of the same of what you can see on the boards on the way in. Their wellbeing links.
Okay then.
There you go.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And they have the probation office this side as well. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. And they've got probation in the council office. I've not seen that before. Yeah, it's just not something that I've seen before. Just one other point so I was standing space, I don't want to get them in the background. But yeah, one other point when we're talking about GDPR, I'm very aware that DWP have a very strict policy that outsourced security are not supposed to be handling appointment lists. Obviously, yourselves are. Okay, well, don't work in a public sector, and that's fine. But again, so again, what? Yeah. What I'm doing is filming for evidence. Like I said, you're breaching GDPR, and I'm just trying to raise that respectfully.
Generally, yes, but it's in our contract that we can do that because we've all signed a GAG order for that reason.
Have you had appropriate GDPR training in accordance with that? What company is it? MPDFM?
Yep. Okay,
that's fine. I'll do a Freedom of Information request for that contract and that disclosure.
In here, we've all signed a GAG order for that reason.
Okay. So that's interesting because as far as I'm aware, and I have memos from DWP stating, and people that have worked for example, G4S, that have told me explicitly that they are told they are not to handle appointment lists, they are not to ask people's names, they're not you're basically here to do security, and that's it. The information that's being held by the DWP in terms of that information list that she's just left on display for everybody to go and look at now, and that's why it's such an issue, because she's saying you've had appropriate GDPR training, but you've now just left people's personal information on that table unattended where anybody could go. If I wanted to, I could go film that quickly. All it would take is 2 seconds on the camera, and all of that information I could then publish anywhere I wanted. Okay? and I've just raised it with you, and it's still sat there on the table, unattended, and it's still sat there on the table, unattended, and it's still sat there on the table, unattended.
You're going to carry on saying that?
It's still, yeah, pretty much. Just flip it over. That's all you got to do. You know, again, flip it around. So because you got it facing towards people. You say you're serious about this GDPR, and that's why I can't film in certain places. But your actions are speaking massively different. And it's not acceptable. These are people's information that they don't want shown to the public. Hence why I said, let's face this way so I don't get them in the background. You know, trying to respect their privacy. All I'm asking is that you guys do exactly the same thing. It's not a difficult job.
Where is this going to be?
Wherever I choose them, I might just send it.
I mean, where are you going to put it?
I don't know. I might just keep it and send it straight up to DWP. Might send it up to the council, to local councillors. So just let these people pass. But you know what I mean? Like, there we go. There you go. So yeah, these are the multi-purpose computers here. They look quite fancy compared to other places I've been. A lot more fancy and up to date. Had a fly on my phone. Yeah, so interesting. You know, they say that they don't, you know, it's for GDPR reasons, but as far as I'm aware, third-party contracted security are not authorised to handle people's personal data and information in such a manner. So up this way, you've got the Boston Registration Office for births, deaths, marriages, civil partnerships, and civil ceremonies. And that area is by appointment only. And then they do actually have signage here on the first floor, no unauthorised access, so we can't go up that way. Yeah. So like I said, that's interesting that you know, there's probation service in the municipal buildings area. Yeah, it's beautiful, beautiful building. Pardon?
Do you edit your videos at all?
Yeah, I mean, there's not a massive lot to edit, to be honest. The only time I ever edit it is, like, say you had to go off to have a conversation, I was stood here waiting for you to come back, I might just edit out that dead time. Yeah. But other than that, there's not a lot of editing to be done.
Would you blur out faces?
Pardon?
Would you blur out faces as well?
Potentially. Children in the background. Yeah, I do what I can, you know. But
I'm asking, you know.
Again, it depends. Like, if there's people that are clearly in distress, or like you know, kids in particular, and that as well. Yeah, we try to be as respectful as we can, but it's that thing of, you know, the same way that you don't have to ask their permission to have on CCTV. I don't have to ask permission to, you know, that's what, you know, when your colleague said it doesn't give authorization. Yeah, but then, you know, not everybody likes being on CCTV, but you can't help it. It is what it is. You know, there's nothing prohibiting it. But yeah, it's just like one of those things. But so the DWP is for that area there, isn't it? Cool.
Yeah, it goes all the way.
Yeah, it goes all the way down around. So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to head outside the building, I'm going to do a walk around, and I'm going to check if the blinds are open, or if I can see anything through anything windows, that there's nothing that can be seen that shouldn't be able to be seen. If there is, I'll come back and I'll let you know, and you can report that to a manager.
Thank you.
All right. Because this is what I look out for really, is GDPR, especially with the DWP, because in my experience they are terrible for GDPR, and I mean really bad. Always blinds open, computer screens on display, things like that. Not client, what's the word for it? But yeah, the list of people coming for appointments. Yeah, not customers, there's a word for it. Claimants, yeah, that's it. Claimants information and stuff. So yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Alrighty. But yes, I'll do that. If there's any issues, I'll come back and let you know.
Okay, mate.
So yeah, out here, yeah, it does look pretty good actually. Darkened windows, all the blinds are closed, and yeah, it's pretty good actually. Got citizens' advice in this way, but that looks locked. Yeah, it doesn't look like citizens' advice is actually open.
Yes.
Yeah. Aye. So we go, yeah, security started off on a bit of the wrong foot there with trying to tell me that I can't record, and yeah, they're just trying to tell me what I can and can't do. But I think he kind of got the message when I kept repeating the fact that list was still on display, it's still on display, it's still on display. And I think he clocked on that I was just going to stand there and repeat what I was saying until he went and changed it and moved it. So yeah, I got the name of his company. I will send them an email and request information with regards to whether or not they are allowed to handle the claimant appointment list. I have had a message from somebody who no longer works for G4S but did work for G4S in JobCentres, and they messaged me to give me that information after a previous video that G4S have been told not to handle that client list, not to ask for people's names and appointment times or whatever. So yeah, we'll find out if that's the same for that company. So I'll send it to that company and to DWP. I'll CC DWP in. Or maybe actually do it to DWP and CC the other company in. And see how we get on with that one. But yeah, security guard eventually came around, but as I said, I feel like that was only because of the way that I clearly showed that I have knowledge of where I can and can't record. I feel like if it were anybody else who didn't and just wanted to record their experience, may have been bullied out of exercising their rights, really. So yeah, it's a shame. Hopefully he's got the message for next time. Hopefully, I don't know, yeah, hopefully they'll learn that GDPR doesn't apply to us. The onus is on them to keep that information private and secure,